Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in for the study of Srila Prabhupada's book. We are studying Path of Perfection. We'll start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Udapatakamelam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Varjana Saitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahanalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauramani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradushe Namaha Vanchakalpadrobhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna. So thank you all for joining in. So today we're going to start with chapter number 5 of this book, Path of Perfection. And this is entitled Determination and Steadiness in Yoga. Srila Rupa Goswami says in Nectar of Instruction, Utsahat, Nischayat, Dhairyat, Tattat Karma, Pravartanat, Sangatyaga, Sato Vritte, Sadbir Bhaktir, Prasidyati. So the three important qualities that a devotee should have in order to advance fast in devotional service are Utsahat, Nischayat, and Dhairyat. Right? Enthusiasm, determination, and patience. All these three are very essential for a devotee to advance in devotional service very quickly. Right? So, and also Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekaha kurunandana. When our goal is completely on advancement in devotional service, we are completely fixed in one place. Just like in a windless place. Right? Prabhupada is going to give an example how the flame is clearly, nicely burning. Whereas, if there is a lot of wind in the place, then the focus gets diverted and the flame also gets flickery, and it burns, and it does not burn anymore. It goes off, right? So it's in order to keep our lamp of bhakti glowing very nicely and not getting flickered or not getting put off, we have to maintain this focus on our devotional practices, which is this sadhana bhakti, the navangas of bhakti. All right, so let's quickly go on to our study. It is entitled Determination and Steadiness in Yoga. Okay, I hope my screen is visible. Yeah. Okay. Yata deepo nivatasto nengate sopamas pratha yogina yata chittasya yunjato yogamatmanaha. Yeah, who'll read? Priyanka Mataji, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendental whose mind is controlled remains always steady in his meditation on the transcendental self. Bhagavad Gita 6.19. If the mind is absorbed in Krishna consciousness, it will remain as steady as the flame of a candle that is in a room where there is no wind. Therefore, it is said that a truly Krishna consciousness person, always absorbed in transcendence, in constant undisturbed meditation on his worshipable Lord, is as steady as a lamp or a candle in a windless place. Just as the flame is not agitated, the mind is not agitated, and that steadiness is the perfection of yoga. The state of one thus steadily situated in meditation on the transcendental self or the Supreme Lord is described by Sri Krishna in the following verses of Bhagavad Gita 6.20 to 23. Mataji, please help.
यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन् आत्मनि तुष्यति सुखं मात्यान्तिकं यत्तद् बुद्धिग्राह्यम् अतीन्द्रियं वेति यत्र न चैवायं स्थितश्चलति तत्त्वतः यं लब्ध्वा चापरं लाभं मन्यते नाधिकं ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते तं विद्या दुःख संयोग वियोगम योग संहितम. Okay, so this is the talking about the mind of a devotee. What is exactly samadhi? What is the consciousness of a devotee? Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
In the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. This is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in the midst of greatest difficulty. This indeed of actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Samadhi does not mean making oneself void or merging into the void. That is impossible.
Klesho adhikatarastesham avyakta sakta chetasam.
Some yogis say that one has to put an end to all activities and make himself motionless. But how is this possible? By nature, the living entity is a moving, acting spirit. Motionless, meaning putting an end to the material motion and being fixed in Krishna consciousness. In such a state, one is no longer disturbed by material propensities. As one becomes material motionless, one's motion in Krishna consciousness increases. As one becomes active in Krishna consciousness, one becomes automatically motionless in respect to material activities. I have often used the example of restless child, since it's impossible to make such a child motionless. It is necessary to give him some playthings or some pictures to look at. In this way, he will be engaged or motionless in the sense that he will not be committing some mischief. But if one really wants to make himself motionless, one must give him some engagement in Krishna consciousness. Then there will be no scope of mischievous activities due to realization in Krishna consciousness. To be engaged in Krishna consciousness, one should first realize, I am Krishna's. I am not this matter. I am not of this nation or of this society. I do not belong to this rascal or that rascal. I am simply Krishna's. This is motionless. This is full knowledge, realizing our actual position as a part and parcel of Krishna. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 15.7, the living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. As soon as we understand this, we immediately cease our material activities, and this is what is meant by being motionless. In this state, one sees the self by the pure mind and relishes and rejoices in the self. Pure mind means understanding. I belong to Krishna. At the present moment, the mind is contaminated because we are thinking, I belong to this, I belong to that. The mind is pure when it understands, I belong to Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Yeah. So in this couple of paragraphs, Prabhupada is talking about the conception of how I am not this body, but I am a spirit soul, right? If I'm not this body, I don't think that I'm an Indian, I'm a Hindu, I'm a Christian, I'm a Jewish, or I'm a Christian, etc., etc. Those are all bodily designations. So we want to give up all of the Sarva Upadi Vinid Muktam, Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. In this way, when we give up all our bodily designations, then we establish ourselves as being the spirit soul, part and parcel of the Lord. Mameva Amsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. And in that way, when we are working, when we are working on this platform of being a soul, then what are we doing? We're immediately ceasing our material activities, right? So what is this pure mind? Pure mind means I have this understanding that I belong to Krishna. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma Na shochati, na kankshati. So at this time, there is no lamentation, there is no hankering for material things. I don't think that I'm, I'm belonging to this ism, like Prabhupada is mentioning ism, communism, capitalism, right? The capitalists say that, all the wealth needs to be hoarded with one particular person, whoever has a talent. And communist people are saying, one, because it's hoarded with one or two people, the communists are saying, everything has to be distributed equally amongst all the people. But both of which will not give the desired result, right? Because what we need to understand is everything belongs to the Lord. I also belong to the Lord. So I have to employ all of my senses, all of my resources, all of my skills in the service of the Lord. When I understand this and I work in this platform, then I actually perform activities which are spiritual. I don't perform activities which are material, right? How is that possible? That is because I'm not expecting the results of the activities that I'm performing, right? I am working for the pleasure of the Lord. Karmanyevadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Right? That's only 50% of the story. That I'm not attached to the results. The rest of it is I offer the results to Krishna. I offer everything in the service to the Lord. Why? Because the Lord has given everything to me. And as part of, that's why Krishna also tells in Bhagavad Gita, right? The Devatas provide all of the resources. Anyone who uses it and does not give them back to the Supreme Lord, they're considered to be a thief. That's why the yajnas are all prescribed in the Vedas. But the Bhagavad Gita also says that anyone who also taken up to the process of devotional service to Lord Shri Krishna is absorbed by in performing all of these sacrifices for the various demigods, right? We don't worship the Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Agni, etc., right? When we just yata taror mula nishechanena, right? Simply by watering the root of the tree, the entire parts and parcels of the tree get nourished. Similarly, simply by worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, the demigods, the living entities, everyone who are parts and parcels of the Lord, they also get satisfied. And that is the way we can satisfy everyone. Otherwise, how many people will be satisfied? It's impossible, right? There are 33 crore devatas. How many are we going to satisfy like that? Okay. Okay. Okay, who'll read now? One second. Yeah. Shobha Mataji, go ahead. Rejoicing in the self means from there.
Hare Krishna, am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Haribol. Srila Prabhupada ji, if one is convinced that I am part and parcel of Krishna, one is not disturbed even in the midst of...
The previous paragraph. Rejoicing in the self means rejoicing with Krishna.
Rejoicing in the self means rejoicing with Krishna. Krishna is the super soul or the super self. I am the individual soul or the individual self. The super self and the self enjoy together. Enjoyment cannot be alone. There must be two. What experience do we have of solitary enjoyment? Solitary enjoyment is not possible. Enjoyment is two. Krishna, who is the super soul and individual soul. If one is convinced that I am part and parcel of Krishna, one is not disturbed even in the midst of greatest difficulties, because one knows that Krishna will give protection. That is surrender. To attain this position, one must try his best, use his intelligence and believe Krishna. Bhalasya neha charanam pitarau nrisimha. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.9.19. If Krishna does not protect us, nothing can save us. If Krishna neglects us, there is no remedy. And whatever measures we take to try to protect ourselves will be ultimately defeated. There may be many expert physicians treating a diseased man, but that is not guaranteed that he will live. If Krishna so wills, a person will die despite the best physicians and medicines. On the other hand, if Krishna is protecting us, we will survive even without medical treatment. When one is fully surrendered to Krishna, he becomes happy knowing that regardless of the situation, Krishna will protect him. He is just like a child who is fully surrendered to his parents, confident that they are there to protect him. As stated by Yamunacharya in his Sostra Ratna 43, Kadaham Aikantika Nitya Kinkaraha Prahasayisyami Sanata Jivitam. O Lord, when shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a perfect master? If we know that there is someone very powerful who is our patron and savior, aren't we happy? But if we try to act on our own and at our own risk, how can we be happy? Happiness means being in Krishna consciousness and being convinced that Krishna will give me protection and being true to Krishna. It is not possible to be happy otherwise. Haribol,
Hare
thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Yeah, thank you so much. So, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Right? We have to have complete faith that Krishna is my supreme well-wisher, Krishna is my supreme friend, and I am not scared of any situation. Why? Because Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita that I am your well-wisher, I am your best friend. Suhradam Sarva Bhutanam Nyatvam Mam Shantim Prichati. So, when can we get peace? When we completely believe in the shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Right? Bhajaho Mana Shri Nanda Nandana Abhaya Charana Ravindare. Like we were discussing the other day also. Our level of surrender determines our level of fearlessness. The more we are fearful about material conditions, the less we are surrendered. Right? Our fear and love for Krishna are inversely proportional. The more we love Krishna, the more we depend on Krishna, the more we have confidence in the protection of Krishna, the less is our fears of the material world, the less is our fears of uncertainty of this material world. Because we know what is not within my control is within the control of the Lord. The Lord, there is nothing that can go beyond. There is nothing that's beyond the Lord. The Lord is a controller of everything. And the Lord is my best friend. So why should I worry? Right? Kadaham aikantika nitya kinkaraha. Kinkaraha means servant. I am the eternal servant of the Lord. Praharshayishyami sanata jivitam. So we are not anatha. Right? We are not orphans. We don't have to worry. We have our parents. Who is our parent? Radha and Krishna are our parents. Right? So we are sanata. We are under the protection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we are sanatha, now why should we worry like an anatha? Right? Only orphans. Then we see many orphans, they go around, they don't have anybody to provide anything for them. Right? But when we realize that I am the child of the Supreme Lord, the Lord will protect and give me everything, whatever I need. Right? The Lord gives even the animals. The elephant actually eats, so much of green grass and everything. It is all provided for the elephant. Right? When the Lord provides for jivas, why would the Lord not provide for his own devotees? Right? So in this case, a devotee has to be happily situated in Krishna consciousness, knowing very well that I have a perfect master. I am protected. I am Sanatha. I am Sanatha Jivitam. Right? I am being protected. So why is it that I need to be anxious? There is no need to be anxious. Right? So Prabhupada gives a proper definition of happiness here. What is happiness? Happiness means being in Krishna consciousness. Why? Because there is no anxiety. If you are Krishna conscious, we know who is the proprietor of everything. We know who is the controller of everything. We know who is the enjoyer of everything. And that Supreme Lord is our best friend. So what is the need to worry about anything? Because Krishna will take care of everything. Now, we don't have to worry at all when we are situated in Krishna consciousness. Hence, this is the perfect situation of happiness. Being convinced that Krishna will give me protection. Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Right? Rake Krishna, Mare Krishna, Rake Ke. If Krishna wants to protect us, nobody can kill us, right? At the same time, if Krishna wants to kill us, then nobody can protect us. There is one more rule here, right? If Krishna wants to kill us, then that is the best situation for us, right? If Krishna wants to kill us, that means if you are going to die, that means Krishna will ensure that we come back to Godhead. We don't know. We think that if I just continue to prolong to live for some more time, it's good for me. But Krishna knows the full picture. We know only very limited, right? I want to enjoy this. So I want to continue for some more time here, right? But what is actually beneficial for us, that Krishna knows. So whatever Krishna does is Rakshibe, Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. Whatever situation Krishna is placing us under, that is the best way, that is the best time, that is the best position to be in. To have this faith means to completely depend on the mercy of the Lord. And this is the way to be happy. Always being surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In this way, we can be happy always. Yeah. All right. So let's go ahead. Who will read next? Okay, Sindhu Mataji, go ahead. Of course, Krishna is giving all living entities protection from there.
Pranams, Mataji.
Pranams.
Of course, Krishna is giving all living entities protection, even in the rebellious condition. Eko bahunam yo vidadati kaman. Without Krishna's protection, we cannot live for a second. When we admit and recognize Krishna's kindness, we become happy. Krishna is protecting us at every moment, but we do not realize this because we have taken life at our own risk. Krishna gives us a certain amount of freedom, saying, all right, do whatever you like. As far as possible, I will give you protection. However, when the living entity is fully surrendered to Krishna, Krishna takes total charge and gives special protection. If a child grows up and doesn't care for his father and acts freely, what can his father do? He can only say, do whatever you like. But when a son puts himself fully under his father's protection, he receives more care. As Krishna states in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 9.29, Samoham हम सर्वभूतेषु नामे द्वेषोऽस्ति न प्रियः ये भजन्ति तु मां भक्त्या मयि ते तेषु चाप्यहम्. I envy no one, nor am partial to anyone. I am equal to all, but whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. How can Krishna be envious of anyone? Everyone is Krishna's son. Similarly, how can Krishna be an enemy towards anyone? Since all living entities are Krishna's sons, he is everyone's friend. Unfortunately, we are not taking advantage of his friendship, and that is our disease. Once we recognize Krishna as our eternal father and friend, we can understand that he is always protecting us, and in this way we can be happy. Sa nishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamas dvaktva sarvana sheshatah manashaivendriya gramam viniyamya samantatah. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Bhagavad Gita
Hare Krishna.
6.24. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mataji. So here again we are coming back to the same point. Bandhur atmat manastasya atmanam. What is that verse? That is whereby if the mind is controlled, the mind is our best friend. If the mind is not controlled, the mind is the worst enemy. Right? Bandhu means friend. Atmanam ripuratmanah. Bandhur atmat manastasya atmanam ripuratmanah. Right? Here the atma sometimes refers to body, sometimes refers to mind, sometimes refers to soul. So here atma refers to the mind. For a person who's controlled his mind, the mind is the best friend. For somebody who's not controlled his mind, the mind is the worst enemy. If we make our mind our best friend, then our mind will work for us. The mind, we can tell our mind what we need to work with determination. Or we need to get up tomorrow morning at Mangal Aarti at 4 o'clock or 3:30, whatever be the time. Right? We dictate terms to our mind, not that the mind will dictate its terms to us. That I'm going to watch a movie now, right? So, and in this way, we follow the mind. That is not a very nice situation to be in. But we have control over the mind. That is the best situation to be in. Then we will be able to fulfill all our plans, right? If we were to give the reins to the mind, then what happens? None of our plans will get fulfilled, right? We may plan that at 2 o'clock I want to do this activity, but the mind is busy doing something else, right? Then can we get that activity done? We cannot. That is why it is very important to have the control over the mind, to dictate to the mind. The more we say yes or no to the mind, according to what we have planned, to that extent, when the mind keeps on listening to what we are saying, in that way the mind becomes our best friend, and in this way the mind becomes controlled. Like in the fire, right? The more you add ghee, the fire is only going to burn more and more and more. So the more we are going to say yes to the mind, okay, this one time I will do it, this one time I will do it. The more we are saying yes to the mind, it is like we are adding ghee to the fire. The fire is only going to burn more. But we don't put ghee to the fire. That means we say, no, I'm not going to do this now. I'll do that, but I'll do it later. Now, this is my work. This is what I have to do. In that way, when we tell the mind what it needs to do at whichever time, then the mind comes under control. Just like the horses are running in, various directions. But a person who has a strong hold in of the horse, right, using the reins, right, the intelligence is the driver. He has strong control on the horses, which are the senses, through the reins, which is the mind. The reins are under the control of the driver, then we are safe. Otherwise, the horses will run here, there, and everywhere, just like the mind runs. Yeah. So that is what we need to control the mind and use the mind to control the senses. In this way, we have to control the mind. Yeah. All right. So let's move forward. Maushmi Mataji, go ahead. As stated before.
As stated before, Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams, yes.
As stated before, this determination can be attained by one who does not indulge in sex. Celibacy makes makes one's determination strong. Therefore, from the very beginning, Krishna states that the yogi does not engage in sex. If one indulges in sex, one's determination will be flickering. Therefore, sex life should be controlled according to the rules and regulations governing the
Grihastha ashrama.
or sex should be given up altogether. Actually, it should be given up altogether, but if this is not possible, it should be controlled. Then determination will come, because after all, determination is a bodily affair. Determination means continuing to practice Krishna conscious with determination, with patience and perseverance. If one does not immediately attain the desired rules, one should not think, oh, what is this Krishna consciousness? I will give it up. No, we must have determination and faith in Krishna, Krishna's words. In this regard, there is a
Main example.
Main example. When a young girl gets married, she immediately hankers for a child. She thinks, now I am married, I must have a child immediately. But how is this possible? The girl must have patience, because a faithful wife serves her husband and let her love grow. Eventually, because she is married, it is certain that she will have a child. Similarly, when we are in Krishna conscious, our perfection is guaranteed. Guaranteed. But we must have patience and determination. We should think, I must execute my duties and should not be impatient. Impatience is due to loss of determination, and loss of determination is due to excessive sex.
So here, Mataji, you can continue, just give me 2 minutes. So here, Prabhupada is clearly talking about what is the kind of regulation that we need to maintain. And Prabhupada gives an example here of how a girl gets married, right? When a girl gets married, automatically with the passage of time, she will get pregnant, she will have children. But if she wants to have a child right now, that will not be possible. For at least 9 months after conception, she has to wait. So that is what Prabhupada is telling here. We are in the process of Krishna consciousness. So our getting perfection is guaranteed, right? But it is just a question of time. And then that particular time, we have to be patient, we have to be determined, and we also have to practice Krishna consciousness with enthusiasm. Now, if you have all these 3 ingredients, then just like a girl will give birth to a child after 9 months, similarly, our practice of Krishna consciousness will give us the desired success of Krishna Prema. Now, but we have to wait for the right time when we'll get the mercy of the Lord. And for this, one's determination should not be flickering. And why is it said that one is practices brahmacharya? That means one avoids sex altogether. Then one is able to practice more determination. Why? Because sex pleasure is to be the greatest pleasure in this material world. If one is able to control, right? Here Prabhupada is talking about completely eliminating or following the Grihastha standards. Grihastha standards is to engage in sex life only for the purpose of procreation, to have Krishna conscious children. Right? In that way, when we are regulated in our activities, right, then what happens? Automatically, our determination to perform activities for the purpose of satisfaction of the Lord automatically increases. And the more we engage in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the more our determination to serve the Lord also increases. Right? The more we exercise patience in satisfying the Supreme Lord, the more determination we will get by the mercy of the Lord. So that is how the equation works. right? We show our determination, we show our enthusiasm, we show our patience, and then what happens? We are granted more determination, right? The very fact that you're determined to get up early in the morning or to study Srila Prabhupada's books daily, it is because of the mercy of the Lord. By our own endeavor, not even a blade of grass can move. Right? Forget studying so many pages, getting up in the morning, doing Mangalarti, etc. If you're able to do all of that, you have to understand that Krishna is reciprocating with our desire. As Jiva, we desire that we want to do all these things for the pleasure of Guru and Gauranga, and the Lord reciprocates with us by allowing us to do all those activities for their pleasure. And when we do those activities for their pleasure, then automatically what happens? We have become the recipients of the mercy of the Lord. And in this way, what happens? We get more power to be determined in our activities. We get more power to be patient. We get more power to be enthusiastic in carrying out the activities of devotional service. Right? The more we sincerely endeavor to serve Guru and Gauranga, the more we will be empowered by the Lord to be able to serve and satisfy and please them. And in this way, we get more power. So that's how it works. It is all a cycle like that. All right. So let's move ahead. Okay, let me share my screen again. Yeah, Moshmi Mataji, you can continue. The yogi should be determined.
The yogi should be determined and should patiently prosecute Krishna conscious without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue the course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the
Attainment of success.
Attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami Utsahan
Nishchayat dhairyat tattat karma pravartanat sangatyagat stovritte shadbhir bhakti prasidyati.
The process of Bhakti Yoga can be executed successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees and by engaging completely in activities of goddess Upanishad, Upadesham 3.
Upadeshamrita 3.
3. As for determination, one should follow the example of the sparrow who lost her egg in the waves of ocean. A sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the egg on its waves. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal, so the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out the water in her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for laughed
at her for her impossible
determination. The news of her activities spread, and when at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carries of Lord Vishnu, heard it, he became compassionate towards his small sister bird, and so he came to see her. Garuda was very pleased by determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her egg at lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened by this and returned the eggs. Thus the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda.
Yeah.
Similarly,
So here, Prabhupada is making a point here that if we give our best endeavor, then we will be helped by the Lord, right? Just like the Garuda helped the sparrow. And sparrow on its own could not have drank up the whole ocean in order to retrieve its eggs. But when if Garuda were to do it, Garuda could have swallowed the entire ocean. And seeing the determination of the sparrow, Garuda wanted to help the sparrow. Similarly, seeing our sincere and determined endeavor, the Lord will also help us. We ourselves will not be able to cross over the three modes of material nature. Daivi hayesha gunamayi, mama maya duratyaya. Mameva ye prapadyante, maya metam tarantite. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, if we make our sincere endeavor to surrender unto Krishna, then Krishna will enable us to cross over the three modes of material nature. Yes, Mataji. Similarly, the practice of yoga.
Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga in Krishna conscious, may appear to be a very difficult job. But if anyone follows the practices with great determination, the Lord will surely help. The God helps those who help themselves.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare
So,
Krishna.
so here God helps those who help themselves, right? This is a saying that we also have heard of in our normal endeavors also, right? Even when we are studying for an exam or we are doing any material endeavors also, we tell this, right? God helps those who help themselves. This is more true for the spiritual endeavors than for anything else, right? When we do our duty with determination, completely depending on the mercy of the Lord will give us the results, right? That's why even in the process of bhakti, we focus only on Sambandha Gyan and Abhideya. Sambandha Gyan means knowing who I am. I am the servant of the Lord. The Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what is my duty? To engage in Abhideya. What is that? The process of rendering devotional service to the Lord. That is the process of Abhideya or the process, right? And then ultimately, Prayojana will come by the mercy of the Lord. We don't have to worry when Prayojana will come, why the Prayojana is taking so much time, right? We don't have to worry about it. We simply have to focus on Sambandha and Abhideya, and Prayojana, the result will automatically come by the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like that. Kshanai kshanai uparamed buddhya triti grihitaya atma samstam manah kritva na kinchit api chintayet. Okay, who'll read? Leelanandini Mataji, go ahead. Gradually.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandavats. Yes, Mataji.
Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Bhagavad Gita 6.25. We are the self, and Krishna is also the self. When there is sunlight, we can see the sun and ourselves also. However, when there is dense darkness, we sometimes cannot even see our own body. Although the body is there, the darkness is so dense that I cannot see myself. But when the sunshine is present, I can see myself as well as the sun. Similarly, seeing the self means, first of all, seeing the Supreme Self, Krishna. In the Kathopanishad, it is stated, Nityo Nityanam Chedanas Chedanam. The Supreme Self is the chief eternal of all eternals, and he is the chief living being of all living beings. Krishna consciousness means fixing the mind on Krishna. And when the mind is thus fixed, it is fixed on the complete whole. If the stomach is cared for and supplied nutritious food, all the bodily limbs are nourished and we are in good health. Similarly, if we water the root of a tree, all the branches, leaves, flowers, and twigs are automatically taken care of. By rendering service to Krishna, we automatically render this best service to all others. As stated before, a Krishna conscious person does not sit down idly. He knows that Krishna consciousness is such an important philosophy that it should be distributed. Therefore, the members of this Krishna consciousness society are not just sitting in the temple but are going out on Sankirtana parties, preaching and distributing the supreme philosophy. That is the mission of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciples. Other yogis may be satisfied with their own elevation and sit in secluded places practicing yoga. For them, yoga is nothing more than their personal concern. A devotee, however, is not satisfied just in elevating his personal self. Vacha kalpatarubhaccha kripa sindhubevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Vaishnava, all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like deities, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. A devotee displays great compassion towards conditioned souls. The word kripa means mercy, and Sindhu means ocean. A devotee is an ocean of mercy, and he naturally wants to distribute his mercy. Lord Jesus Christ, for instance, was God consciousness, God conscious, Krishna conscious, but he was not satisfied in keeping this knowledge within himself. Had he continued to live alone in God consciousness, he would not have met crucifixion. But no, being a devotee and naturally compassionate, he also wanted to take care of others by making them God conscious. Although he was forbidden to preach Krishna consciousness, God consciousness, he continued to do so at the risk of his own life. This is the nature of a devotee. It is therefore
Yeah.
stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.68 to 69 that the devotee who preaches is most dear to Lord. Ya idam paramam guhyam mad bhakteshu abhidhasyadi bhakti mai param kritva mam evashyadi asamshaya. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotee's devotional service is guaranteed. And the end, he will come back to me.
Hare Krishna. Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. Thank you so much. So here Prabhupada is giving us the secret. How can we become dear to Lord Shri Krishna? Krishna himself tells in Bhagavad Gita, to one who preaches my glories, to all of the people of the world, to devotees, one who sings my glories to the devotees, automatically such a person will become very dear to me. And when we become dear to Lord Shri Krishna, we become empowered to practice Krishna consciousness very nicely ourselves. Janma sarthak kari paropakar. We cannot give, like his Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj was saying, when he was traveling from the west to India. In that time, he found that in the forest, in the jungles and all, there were many people who were very poor. And Maharaj was so much, he wanted to serve them, give them money. But Maharaj was thinking, I don't have anything myself. How am I going to give them? Right? So when we ourselves don't have any bhakti, how can we give bhakti to others? Right? Only when we practice bhakti and we get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, then we can preach bhakti to others. Right? Otherwise, it is not possible to explain the secret of Krishna consciousness to others. When we practice it with sincerity and determination, and then we are blessed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by our Guru Parampara, by our Guru Maharaj, by Srila Prabhupada, then automatically compassion will arise in our heart. Somebody has actually helped us becoming Krishna conscious, right? Otherwise, where we would be? We would be doing all the nonsensical things, wasting our time. Right? Somebody invested their time in us and brought us to Krishna consciousness. So we have to also be grateful that somebody brought me to Krishna consciousness. And in this way, let me try to give this message. Practicing is first and then preaching this message to others. And Krishna also says in this, in the same chapter, 18th chapter, Krishna says, there is no other servant who is more dear to me than this person who actually preaches my glories. Right? So in this way, Krishna promises that such a person becomes very dear to me and will come back to me very soon. All right. So let's continue reading. Who will read now? Last person, right? Who's there? Okay. Now Kishori Mataji can read. Okay. Then Nagamani Mataji. Then Sneha Prabha Mataji. All right. Okay, Mataji. Go ahead. Nacha tasman manushesho kaschinme priyakrittamaha bhavitha nacha me tasmad anyaha priyataro bhuvi.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Yes.
There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will he ever be one more dear. Therefore, the devotees go out to preach and going forth. They sometimes meet opposing elements. Sometimes they are defeated, sometimes disappointed, sometimes able to convince, sometimes unable. It is not that every devotee.
It is not that every devotee is well equipped to preach here. Yeah.
Sorry, Mataji, just.
It is not that. Can you see now? I marked in yellow.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is not that every
sorry,
devotee.
they sometimes meet opposing elements. Sometimes they are defeated, sometimes disappointed, sometimes able to convince, sometimes unable. It is not that devotee is well equipped in to preach, just as they are different types of people. There are three classes of devotees. In the third class are those who have no faith. If they are engaged in a devotional service officially for some ulterior purpose, they cannot achieve the highest perfectional stage. After they may become engaged, but because they haven't complete conviction and faith, it is very difficult for them to continue in Krishna consciousness. We have practical experience in discharging our missionary activity. Some people come and apply themselves in a Krishna conscious some hidden motive, and as soon as they are economically well, a little well situated, they give up these process and take to their old ways again. It is only by faith that one can advance in a Krishna consciousness. As far as the development of this concerned, one who is well versed in the literature of devotional service and has attained the stage of is called a first class person in Krishna consciousness, and in the second class those who are not very advanced in understanding the devotional scriptures, but who that Krishna bhakti or service to Krishna is the best course, and so in good faith have taken it up. Thus, they are superior to the third class who have neither perfect knowledge of the scriptures nor good faith, but by association and simplicity are trying to follow. The third class person in Krishna consciousness may fall down, but when one is in the second class or first class, he does not fall down. One in the first class will surely make progress and achieve the result at the end. As far as the third class person in Krishna consciousness is concerned, although he has faith in the conviction that devotional service to Krishna is very good, he has no knowledge of Krishna through the scripture like the Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Sometimes these third class persons in Krishna consciousness have some tendency
towards Karma Yoga.
Have some tendency towards Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga, and sometimes they are disturbed, but as soon as the infection of Yoga or Jnana Yoga is disturbed, they become second class or first class. They become first class persons in a Krishna consciousness. Faith in Krishna is divided into three stages in Srimad Bhagavatam. First class attachment, second class attachment, and third class attachment are also explained in Bhagavatam in the 11th canto. However,
thank you so much, ma'am. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Thank you. Yeah. So, so here Prabhupada is actually talking about the three different classes of devotees. Right? We have the Uttamadhikari, we have the Madhyamadhikari, and then we have the Kanishthadhikari. Uttamadhikari, he is completely convinced in the scriptures. He is a pure devotee of the Lord. Right? Uttamadhikaris, they come down to the platform of Madhyamadhikari because in order to preach, we need to do these four things. One is, we understand that the Lord is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We have friendship with devotees. And then three, we stay away from envious people. And then we preach only to the innocent people. We don't preach to the blasphemers, because they will give us opportunity to blaspheme the devotees. We don't want to engage in any kind of blasphemy, right? So we avoid the envious and we preach only to the innocent people. So they are called the Madhyamadhikaris, or they are called the second class devotees. They have firm faith and they also well read in the scriptures. Sometimes they may not be able to convince others, but they themselves are very strong in their practice of Krishna consciousness. So Uttamadhikari and Madhyamadhikari very strong, but Kanishthadhikari, their faith is very komal, very soft faith. They are not very convinced. That is why they need to be very careful, practice spiritual practices very nicely with determination, faith, enthusiasm, study the scriptures very nicely, hear it from a bona fide spiritual master. In that way, when their knowledge becomes strong, then they will automatically move towards the second class. All right. So, okay, last, who will read now? However one is situated. Okay, Nagavani Mataji, go ahead. However one is situated, and then we'll end with Sneha Prabha Mataji. Nagavani Mataji, are you there? Okay, we'll come back to you. Sneha Prabha Mataji, are you there? However one is situated.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, go ahead, Mataji. However one is situated, one should have the determination.
However one is situated, one should have the determination to go out and preach Krishna consciousness. That endeavor should at least be there, and one who so attempts to preach renders the best service to the Lord. Despite opposition, one should attempt to elevate people to the highest standard of self realization. One who has actually seen the truth, who is in the trance of self realization, cannot just sit idly. He must come out. Ramanujare, for instance, declared the Hare Krishna mantra publicly. He did not distribute it private mantra. But if a mantra has any power, why should it be private? If a mantra is powerful, why should it not be publicly declared so that everyone can take advantage of it? We are saying that this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra can save everyone, and we are therefore distributing it publicly, free of charge. But in this age, people are so foolish that they are not prepared to accept accept it. Rather, they hanker after some secret mantra and therefore pay some yogi $35 or whatever for some private mantra. This is because people want to be cheated, but the devotees are preaching without charge, declaring in the street, parks, and everywhere. Here is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Come on, take it. But under the spell of Maya, illusion, people are thinking, oh, this is not good. But if you charge something and bluff and cheat people, they will follow you. In this regard, there is a Hindi verse stating that Kali Yuga is such an abominable age that if one speaks the truth, people will come and beat him. But if one cheats, bluffs, and lies, people will be bewildered, will like it, and will accept it. If I say I am God, people will say, oh, here is Swamiji, here is God. In this age, people don't have sufficient brain power to inquire. How have you become God? What are the symptoms of God? Do you have all these symptoms? Because people do not make such inquiries, they are cheated. Therefore, it is necessary to be fixed in consciousness of the self. Unless one knows and understands the real self and the super self, one will be cheated. Real yoga means understanding this process of self realization. माताजी आप बोलिए या तो
यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्यैतद् आत्मन्येव वशं नयेत्.
from whatever the mind's wanders.
Oh, sorry, 1 second.
Yeah. From whatever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Bhagavad Gita 6.26. This is the real yogic process. If you are trying to concentrate your mind on Krishna and the mind is diverted, wandering to some cinema or wherever, you should withdraw the mind, thinking, not there, please here. This is yoga, not allowing the mind to wander from Krishna. Very intense training is required to keep the mind fixed on Krishna while sitting in one place. That is very hard work indeed. If one is not so practiced and tries to imitate this process, he will surely be confused. Instead, we always have to engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness, dovetailing everything we do to Krishna. Our usual activities should be so molded that they are rendered for Krishna's sake. In this way, the mind will remain fixed on Krishna. As stated before, we should not try to sit down and stare at the tip of our nose At the present moment, attempts to engage in that type of yoga are artificial. Rather, the recommended method is chanting loudly and hearing Hare Krishna. Then, even if the mind is diverted, it will be forced to concentrate on the sound, vibration, Krishna. It is not necessary to withdraw the mind from everything. It will automatically be withdrawn because it will be concentrated on the sound, vibration. If we hear an automobile pass, our attention is automatically diverted. Similarly, if we constantly chant Hare Krishna, our mind will automatically be fixed on Krishna, although we are accustomed to think of so many other things. The
Hare
nature
Krishna.
of the Hare Krishna, Dandat Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Danat Pranams. Right? So here the mind can never be in one place, right? But if we engage the senses in the service of the Lord, now then we were discussing the other day when I'm stringing garlands, okay, I need to put 3 red flowers and then 1 white flower and 1 yellow flower, 3 red flowers. Automatically my mind has to be there, otherwise I will put any flower, isn't it? If the mind is not there. Yeah, so and when we are cooking, we need to put, say, 1 spoon salt, 1 spoon sambar powder, and little hing, like that. So our mind has to be there, so that we put the right thing. Otherwise, we'll put sugar in the place of salt in the kheer, like that. Right? So our mind will automatically be where we are doing when we are performing action. That is why Prabhupada has said that we need to chant the Hare Krishna mantra very loudly. When we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, automatically our ears are engaged because we are hearing the sound vibration. Our mouth is engaged, right? Simply they say that when somebody is preaching and giving a class, who is the person that is benefited the most? The speaker is most benefited. Why? Because everybody else, the hearer, can go to sleep. Can the speaker go to sleep? No. That is why loudly one has to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. When you're chanting loudly, you cannot go to sleep. But when you're passively hearing something, especially when we switch off the cameras, we don't know whether we are sleeping or whether what we are doing, whether we're paying attention, we don't know, isn't it? So that is why it is important that even during chanting, as much as possible, we switch on our cameras. So that not only is Paramatma watching, we also know other Vaishnavas are also watching us. Right? So in this way, at least we will try to chant properly. We will sit in a proper posture. We will say to chant with a prayerful mood. We will chant loudly. We will hear our chanting. Even if somebody else in the group is feeling sleepy, when we loudly chant, that person is also benefited. That person also will wake up, isn't it? So in this way, loud chanting is very, very useful. Otherwise, we don't know. Right? We switch off our cameras. We think we are hearing, but we are dozing off. Mind is somewhere else. The mind is thinking of something else. Right? That is why when we switch on our cameras, we know. When we look at people, right? Nilanjani Mataji switched on her camera now. Haribol. Nice. Yeah. So, Sneha Prabha Mataji. Yeah, it is very important, right? Because we know that somebody is watching us. So, we will not go to sleep. So, similarly, here what it is said, even when we are chanting early during Brahma Muhurta time, we need to chant loudly so that we not only help ourselves by hearing the Mahamantra, speaking loudly the Mahamantra, we not only facilitate other living entities around us, like the bacteria or the cockroach or the lizard or whatever else is there in the home, right? Not only do we benefit them, but also we benefit the entire group, right? That's why in the morning also we are saying, please switch on your cameras when you are chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, right? Some of us may be sleeping, right? Maybe we slept late the previous day. And this morning, somebody was chanting very loudly. I think Purna Mataji. Right? So when somebody is chanting very loudly, then we draw inspiration from such a person, right? When they chant nicely, we also want to chant nicely. So in this way, we inspire each other to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that is the way we have to chant Hare Krishna, and in this way, the mind will become focused on the activity that we are doing. The mind will not doze off. The mind will not go here, there, and everywhere. So that is the way it is. Okay. So let's finally end with our Nagaveni Mataji. Mataji, can you please unmute yourself? The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady. Nagaveni Mataji, are you there? Last call, last and final call for Nagaveni Mataji. Ask to unmute. Mataji, are you getting the prompt or no? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
हरे कृष्ण माता जी अरे माता जी मेरा होता ही नहीं, क्या प्रॉब्लम है पता नहीं।
Okay, अभी हो गया माता जी, जल्दी से पढ़िए. The nature of the mind is flickering.
the nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady. But a
Yeah.
self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. At the present moment, the mind is controlling as Godasa. The mind is telling us, please, why not why not look at that beautiful girl? And so we look. It says, why not drink that nice liquor? And we say yes. It says, why not smoke this cigarette? Yes. This yes. We say, why not go to this restaurant for such palatable food? Why not do this? And why not do that? In this way, the mind is declaring, and we are following material life, means being controlled by the senses or the mind, which is the center of all the senses. Being controlled by the mind means being controlled by the senses, because the senses are the mind's assistants. This the mastermind dictates, go see that, and the eyes following the directions of the mind directions of the mind. Where
Look
it
at the
is?
sense object.
Directions of the mind. Look at the
Sense object.
sense object, because the senses are the mind's assistants. The mastermind dictates, go see that, and the eyes following the directions of the mind look at the sense object. The mind tells us to go to a certain place, and the legs under the mind's direction carry as they. Thus, being under the direction of the mind means coming under the control of the senses. If we if we can control the mind, we will not be under the control of the senses. One who is under the control of the sense is known as Godasa. The word go means senses, and dasa means servant. Servant. One who is the master of the senses is called Goswami, because Swami means master. Therefore, one who has the little Goswami is one who has mastered the senses. As long as one is servant of the senses, he cannot be called a Goswami or Swami. Unless one masters the senses, his acceptance of the title Swami or Goswami is just a form of cheating. It was Rupa Goswami who thus defined the meaning of the word Goswami. Originally, Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami were not Goswamis,
but were government ministers.
Goswami and Rupa Goswami were not Goswamis, but were government ministers. It was only when they became disciples of the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that they became Goswamis. So Goswami is not a hereditary title, but a qualification. one becomes so qualified under the directions of a bona fide spiritual master. Only when one has attained perfection in sense control can be called a Goswami and become a spiritual master in his turn. Unless one can master the senses, he will simply be a
Bogus spiritual master.
bogus spiritual master. This is
Hare Krishna.
explained.
Thank you, Mataji. We will end here
Yeah,
on
sure.
ahead of time. Okay, so so here what do we understand? The mind is a best slave, right? A mind is a very bad master, but the mind is a very good servant. As long as we have our mind under control, we can control our senses, and in this way, we'll be able to perform the actions that we are required to perform. But if we allow the mind to take control, then what happens? The mind will dictate whatever it wants from us, and we will be following the mind. So that is not the way we can function effectively. So we must become qualified. How do we become qualified? By taking shelter under the lotus feet of a spiritual master. When we take shelter, when we inquire submissively, when we render service to the spiritual master, then the spiritual master will give his mercy to us. And when we are recipients of such mercy, then automatically we will be able to control our senses. And when we control our senses, then we are able to practice devotional service in a more effective way. The more we please Guru, the more we are able to control the senses. And that enables us to perform devotional service more effectively. And that is the cycle we want to be in. Get more mercy, practice devotional service nicely until we attain the stage of Krishna Prema. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Shri Gurudev ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Little is left of this chapter. We'll continue this tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. So let's see who all are there today for our session. Shobha Mataji is there. Sindhu Mataji, Vijayalakshmi Priya Mataji, Maushmi Mataji, Nisha Mataji is there. Navkishori Mataji, Sridhar Prabhu, Priyanka Mataji, Jyotsna Mataji, Sneha Prabha Mataji, and all the devotees. Thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. All right, so everyone can unmute themselves now. So we had decided yesterday we'll do 11:30 to 12:30. Today the time is 1:50. Yeah. So for the next Sunday we will do it from 12:30 to 1:30. Mataji, very nice to hear the talks from. Okay. Yeah, everyone can unmute themselves now. Hear the talks from Nataraj Pune. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for joining us. So from next Sunday we will be from 14th. That is on the Tirubhakti of Jiva Goswami. From then on, we will do 11 to 12 o'clock. Right? So we want devotees to join in that time. Please reschedule all the other things. Even I have to do a lot of rescheduling because we are changing from 12:30 to about 1.5 hours before. So 11 to
11:30, no?
Yeah, 11:30 you made it.
11:30.
Sorry. Okay. 11:30.
Is there any problem?
No, 11:30. No, I have another class that's starting, Mataji, after that. So 11:30 to 12:30. That's what we will decide now. So 11:30 to 12:30. That is from 14th. So for the next 1.5 weeks, today we are on Thursday, Friday, and then Saturday will not have a class. Saturday, Sunday, Monday to Friday, and then from that Saturday will not have a class. From Sunday, we will do everyday Srila Prabhupada study, book study. 11:30 to 12:30 p.m.
Mataji, from 14th onwards, you will have every day what from 11:30?
Yes. From 14th onwards. So I'm giving you 1.5 weeks notice. Please reschedule your timings, get used to it. And then we meet every day because we want to complete all of Srila Prabhupada's small books. Then we want to go to Bhagavad Gita, then we go to Bhagavatam, then we go to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? A lot of devotees sending a lot of messages. I am thoroughly inspired. So let's do this. Right? From Sunday, means from Jiva Goswami's Tirubhakti, we're going to completely, with the blessings of Jiva Goswami, we're going to completely engage in everyday study of Prabhupada's books. Yes, Leelanandini Mataji.
Yeah, Mataji, this time is fixed, no? No, it will not change, Mataji.
From today to 12th is 12:30.
Earlier it was in the evening, then again.
11. No more changes in the timings. From 14th, by the blessings of Jiva Goswami, we will fix up this time, 11:30 to 12:30. Please reschedule everything else. Yeah. All right. Hare Krishna, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai God Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Hari
Bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, you know Seva Shakti Mataji. Hare Bol, you know Seva Shakti Mataji.
Mataji, message me very late. Hari Bol.